We are back and very much looking forward to talking. We now have 3 in our hangout. We have our 2 Davids and Steve. How is everybody today?
Great. I just realized the top 1%, they can afford all the best technology, so they wouldn't have gotten bounced off. So
there you
go. Well, maybe you can help us figure out what that technology is and help us get a sponsor for it. Steve, if anybody can figure it out, it's going to be you. We have a comment here from Rona Barrymore. In concierge service, like in a hotel, it's a little more complicated than that, isn't it, what you do, Steve?
Yeah, we help rich people spend their money. We handle all of the fantasy stuff. If someone's got a dream and a checkbook that can match it, that's what we do.
So we have here on the Huffington Post 8 insane things super rich people spend their money on, with a few photos. We have an emergency room in their home, a submarine to visit the ocean's deepest part, psychological wealth counseling, how to deal with the psychological issues associated with having lots of money, doomsday safe underground luxury condo. Are these real? Are these things that you've actually helped to procure?
The deep sea experience, yes. We've sent about 24 people down to see the Titanic, and in fact we're actually preparing for a Titanic voyage next year. We've also worked with James Cameron on the recent Challenger, but out of the ones you've just mentioned there is deep sea only, yet we are responsible for helping some of the civilians part with a lot of money to get up into space, and we're still planning that now.
Well, and I see here you have some photos at some very incredible places. What's going on in this picture?
Well, we get clients to contact us and they ask us for extreme getaways. So, you know, quite simply, if you're working 24/7, then come Saturday, you fly off to Bali and sit on the beach. Within an hour, you're going through cold turkey, checking your iPhone and find out if the office is okay. So we have to throw you into the mix of nothing. So shove you up on Everest, white water rafting down the Kalikadaki, sending you to the Titanic, sticking you in a Formula One driving course, or even just a pasta making course in Amalfi. Anything to really take your mind off of your day-to-day and get you immersed into your local surroundings.
How did you get into this? Are you a wealthy individual who just decided to bring people along for the ride?
I certainly wasn't. I'm an East London boy from a construction family, and I really just make sure the clients get what they want. So we're in our 17th year now, so I'm proud to have enjoyed a lot of these different experiences, but I suppose I just have a knack of getting people into what they want and dreaming and spending their checkbook to make sure they get it.
Well, I see that you might be from a construction family. You have right here, though, you are hobnobbing with some of the richest and the most famous. Richard Branson right here. Of all the experiences that you have put together for your clients, what has been your most coveted? What is something that you think is the most incredible?
Wow. Well, last year we had a client that was a speed freak. He wanted to do all of the main speed genres. So we put him on the back of a MotoGP bike in England with Randy Mamola. He actually went over the finish line on one wheel. It was quite an amazing picture, especially when you consider that he's a 6'2" Australian. We stuck him in a Lotus Formula One car in the south of France, and we threw him out of an aircraft. He also did an L-39 flight, which is a military trainer jet over the Mojave Desert. But we've sent people up to space. We've sent
Tell me about the person you sent to space. Where in space did they go?
International Space Station. There's only one accommodation up there so far.
Were you his personal concierge there?
We just get people contact us, and then we have to negotiate with the Russian military to make sure that it can be done.
So this is quite intense. How do you negotiate with the Russian military to get someone up in space?
You show them a big fat checkbook.
Can money buy anything? Could money buy someone, say, visit with Queen England?
I'm afraid you're talking to a cynical man that can get anything for a price, so the answer is yes.
You've gotten some interesting seatings.
I've got some interesting ones, sorry?
You've gotten people even in with the Pope.
Yeah, we had a client that went to Rome, wanted a private audience with the Pope, so we organised that. We've organised lunch with the Trump family, meetings with famous racing drivers, backstage at concerts.
Wait, so how does that work though with the Pope? How does that? With whom does you writing a check to the Pope or to the Catholic Church or?
No. Yes, I'm a cynic, but the simple fact is that, people will do things for good. If I come to you and say, look, I want you to do this for me, and what's your cost? You may turn around and go, money can't buy me. But if we turn around and say, look, we'll house a family for a year so they don't have to worry about a mortgage, or we'll furnish this school with all the computers they need for the next 10 years, or we'll pay someone's hospital bills. You'll be amazed what people will do for the feel-good factor.
Interesting. So philanthropy might sometimes, when you're seeing it in the pictures, have an ulterior motive, you might say.
It all comes down to the magical dollar. However it's dispersed, it's down to the amount. If you come up with the right amount, if you come up with the right reason, it's going to happen. Well,
David Arnold, not everyone is out for experiences and meeting popes. Many people are out to purchase incredible things, and that's where Robb Report comes in.
Absolutely. And in fact, it's interesting what Steve is saying, because one of the things that really has become a focus of the truly affluent in the last few years has been these experiences, access to kind of unique and wonderful things. And that's really what the Robb Report covers editorially. We find things that are obviously we find things that are unique and that are special. But what we've also seen in the last few years is a focus on acquiring things that will appreciate in value over time. So whether that's Patek Philippe watches, Eric Clapton cigars, letters written by Abraham Lincoln, collections of wine, collections of classic cars. That's been a real focus for a lot of affluent people as they look for diversification. And a lot of the financial markets have been unsettled. I mean, not today.
I think that's an
we're
interesting thing, what
high.
you just mentioned, diversification. Many people think about purchasing jewelry or classic cars as something that's perhaps not necessarily an appreciating piece of the portfolio, but in the ultra-rich, these things can actually accumulate more wealth.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you talk to the people at Graf, who I would say are probably the leading sellers of very exclusive stones. I mean, they're selling 20, 30, 40, 50 carat flawless diamonds. And in many cases, they'll buy back diamonds that have sold 5 or 6 years ago for a client who wants to upgrade. They want to go from a 25 emerald cut to maybe a 40 carat because that's come on the market. So there's a rarity factor, limited supply, obviously. But the fact of the matter is that they've seen appreciation running probably over the last 6 years, I would say somewhere around 130 to 160%. True of colored stones also, and true of watches. So although they enjoy the experience of wearing them from time to time, they also enjoy the returns that they see for a fairly substantial investment.
But for the average individual, you wouldn't suggest I go and put my 401k in, say, a K diamond?
No, not from the company K or a K in color. If you can find a diamond that is, $12,000, $15,000, that's small but great quality, it probably will be a good investment for you.
That's interesting. It's interesting. We had the gold rush. Now maybe we have the 12 to 15K diamond rush, as long as, of course, it's conflict free.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Out of curiosity, with Robb Report, which has been around for decades through thick and thin, ups and downs, how has this most recent recession affected your viewership and your readers?
Actually, it hasn't really affected the audience overall in terms of our business. In fact, in some ways, it may arguably have helped, because I think what it has done in the last 5 years, it's clarified what is truly luxury versus a whole raft of companies and products that kind of put the luxury mark onto their products but didn't have the pedigree, the heritage, or the background of a company like an Hermes, for example, that's been in the business for centuries, Vacheron Constantin, that's been making watches for 3 centuries, Breguet, that was making watches for Napoleon. I mean, these are companies that have been around manufacturing great quality products for years and years. And although Robb Report hasn't been around for 3 centuries, sometimes it does feel like that, we've been covering this marketplace, I think, in a very authoritative fashion for 40 years. And really focusing on the connoisseurs, people that really understand the distinction between great quality products, well manufactured, limited distribution, as opposed to products that are more geared to a mass or broader based market.
Well, you can't get more niche than a Lamborghini.
That's true. And the Aventador, we do an event every year, thinking of Steve's experiences. We bring 100 people together over a course of 4 sessions out in Napa Valley, and we have them drive the new 14 or so luxury cars coming out the following model years. They won't have driven any of them. And we bring out Bugatti and Lamborghini and Maserati and Ferrari and Porsche. And last year, actually in 2011, the 2012 winner was the Aventador, $400,000. Really an amazing car. This one that you're seeing right now It's kind of a gunmetal finish. There is a bit of a Batman-esque feel to it, but I have to tell you, the driving experience for people was quite exhilarating, quite remarkable. And they've sold out their production run for the first 2 years, and the majority of them were sold to people living in America, interestingly.
Really? Wow.
Absolutely.
So even though the recession is hitting, it's not hitting the Lamborghini?
It's not hitting Lamborghini at all. Their sales last year, I think, were up about 60%, and they're looking pretty solid this year, too. So that's a brand that does very well. Again, limited production. Not everybody can afford it. Not everybody can own it. Same as Ferrari. You know, they only make so many cars. They control the market very intelligently, and their price holds very well in the market.
Well, David Lee, I know that we are talking a lot about experiences that you can travel, and we're talking about products like jewelry and cars, but Destination Luxury is a lot about experiences.
Yeah, we're all about capturing the luxury experience all around the world. So we work with hotels, restaurants, private jet companies, yachts, to produce gorgeous videos. We've shot in, we've had some really amazing experiences. It's been a lot of fun.
So you've gotten to partake in a lot of these experiences as well. I love this picture of you right here because this is no ordinary ice cream sundae.
Yeah, that's the Golden Opulence, which is sold for $1,000 at Serendipity 3 in New York. It's served in a Baccarat Harcourt crystal goblet, and it has 23-karat edible gold leaf with scoops of Tahitian ice cream, and it just tastes like heaven. It's like the most delicious, the most delicious, smooth, sweet thing you'll ever taste.
Did you, when you got this, did you consider that you were ingesting what some people might think of as a weekly salary?
Yeah, and if you look at the comments on the YouTube video, people have a lot to say about it. I guess it's a little controversial.
If you had to do it all over again, would you do it?
Sure, as long as I don't have to pay for it.
Would you take a colander with you to the restroom after?
No.
Well, that's not at all what living the luxury life is about. It's just enjoying it without thinking, right? It's just enjoying the experience. And not just when you're eating, but also the hotels you stay in, the places you are. I mean, there are some luxury destinations that are in some of our classic historical landmarks, like the Versailles.
Yeah, there's a hotel called the Trianon Palace, which is the only hotel that's on the Versailles property. And it has beautiful grounds. It's been remodeled. It was an old, building, and it has a Michelin star restaurant in there by Gordon Ramsay, and it's just beautiful.
David Arnold, when we're talking about all of these experiences, you've been reporting on this for how long have you been with Robb Report?
So I've been with the company about 7 years. I just actually want to make a point about Versailles. There's a very interesting story. Mr. Hayek, who is the owner of Swatch Watch, that owns, among other things, the Breguet brand, recreated a Marie Antoinette pocket watch, which had a price, hasn't been sold, and I don't think will be, but had a price of $2 million. And he heard that a tree, one of Marie Antoinette's favorite trees, had actually been struck by lightning in Versailles. And so he sent a group of people out. They negotiated with the owners. They took the tree away and they turned it into a box in which they then presented the Marie Antoinette watch. So, the idea of money can buy anything. I mean, I think if you have the thought and the concept to do things differently and to do things uniquely, you're always going to find a market for that. So anyway, to answer your question, I've been with the company for 7 years. Robb Report's been in existence almost 40 years, pretty much doing what we do, I think, quite well.
Of your time there with Robb Report, what experience have you had that has been your absolute favorite?
I think for me, the Car of the Year experience, where we get to drive these cars during the course of the day, back to back. It looks like it's a very easy task, and then by about 3 o'clock, you're having a hard time getting into the 12th or the 13th car. So that's an amazing experience. But frankly, I'm very fortunate. I work at a company where, listening to some of Steve's stories, similar experiences, not going up into space and not diving with James Cameron, but having some really interesting experiences with people that have been very successful, who have found great success and wealth along with it, who continue to do phenomenal things in philanthropy, but they really do live life to the fullest. And at the same time, keep a lot of people employed, because it takes an awful lot of people to make a Lamborghini or a Patek Philippe watch, or the cars that we talk about, or the boats, or the space stations. So the criticism of the truly affluent, I think, in some cases is a bit misguided, because without the amount of money that they put into the economy and the consumption that they are responsible for, the unemployment situation would be much worse. So that's my commercial message for affluence.
Steve, jump in here, because we've been talking a lot about affluence as it pertains to these trips and these cars and these hotels, but there's also a very feminine side here. I love this picture. What are we looking at right here?
That's actually Milan. We have a lot of people that want to travel the world and enter Milan Fashion Week, Paris, New York. And so we get a lot of people reach out to us and they ask if they can get into the shows, go to the after parties, and just enjoy the whole ambience of Fashion Week.
I love it. I'm also really excited because we have Jamie. Hi, Jamie. How are you? You're actually muted. If you could go into your upper right-hand corner and unmute yourself. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Sorry about that.
No worries. Well, we have just been gossiping about all of the incredible things that people can do and have, the experiences they have, and you create one-of-a-kind spaces that are just surreal for individuals. How did you stumble upon outdoor, indoor spaces as a thing?
Well, I started studying horticulture from the very get-go, I guess. I'm going back 15 years now, but I've always been in the creative industry. In fact, I came from showbiz originally, where I was working with lighting shows, pyrotechnics, stage and set design and all that sort of stuff. And then I converted some of that into training in horticulture and architecture, and then got into now industrial design and a range of furniture and you know, a whole bunch of things. In fact, we're in Milan in next week doing a collaboration with Riva, where we're installing a whole range of furniture in both indoor and exterior spaces, because I think that for the most part people are very much intrigued with what we call the transterior spaces, the spaces that are in between exterior and interior. Everyone wants to feel like they've got a connection to the outdoors, and my background in horticulture and landscape design has helped me get a very good understanding of that, working in hotels and resorts and private homes around the world.
And the private home is the interesting part, because you take very private aspects of a house, like the bathroom, and you turn them into gorgeous, glamorous outdoor spaces.
Yeah, well, I think everyone likes to feel like, or wants to feel like they have a feeling of luxury around them. They want to feel like they've nurtured themselves in the best way possible, not just with nature, but with inspiring architecture, with beautiful materials, with sophisticated, intelligent IT. You know, people want to feel like they're creating the nest of their dreams, and I don't think anyone ever gets tired of finding fresh ideas when it comes to, you know, feathering their own nest.
Well, one of the things that people want to know is what is the most outstanding, over-the-top creation that you've done for someone in their home?
I wouldn't say I'm the wackiest designer on the planet when it comes to exterior design, but we certainly go about turning the house inside out. So I've created outdoor lounge rooms, outdoor living rooms, outdoor kitchens, huge vertical gardens. This is my own house in Los Angeles, actually.
This outdoor kitchen, this is a real working kitchen. Outdoors.
Oh, totally. Yeah, yeah. And you know, this is a space that backs directly onto a 45-degree vegetable garden where we grow herbs and vegetables and a whole range of fresh produce, which we then can cook directly on the outdoor kitchen. And we designed an outdoor kitchen in collaboration with Electrolux. Most recently, and ironically, we've sold our first two to Germany, which is probably not a place where you'd spend most of your year outside. But I hope
that your Electrolux kitchen came with like a parka set that matches. Approximately how much does this outdoor kitchen set cost?
They range anywhere between 20 and 55,000, depending on you know, the extent of the kitchen. I mean, I'm talking about something that comes with low voltage lighting. You've got a dining room that comes off it. It's all on my website, which is on jamiedury.com. And if you go to products there, you can search on some of these areas. But that's JAMIEDURIE.com. And JamieDuryDesign.com is where we showcase a lot of these products.
Jamie, I have to say, when we were talking about this, when you're talking about 20 to 55,000, David Lee, that's only about 20 or 50,000, 20 or 50 ice cream sundaes with the gold on it, the $1,000 ice cream sundae. Actually, David Lee, can you hear us? Are you muted?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And so when you're thinking about all of the types of trips that you're covering for Destination Luxury, what is the key thing that you think that your membership is very interested in?
It's just about finding a unique experience that is special, and yeah, that's about it. Whether it could be like taking a trip to Champagne and drinking the most rare champagne. It could be a nice restaurant or an incredible hotel stay. Maybe the hotel used to be the house of the king or the duke. So that's really it.
That's incredible. Steve, I bet you when you're talking to Jamie, when you're talking to David Arnold, when you're talking to David Lee, you probably have some great ideas for some new clients that are coming around. You're getting some fresh material to present to people.
Yeah, we're always thinking about great things, and I've got to admit, any kind of inspiration we can get is warranted, and we desire. But I've got to give a big shout out for a start to the Kirko Robb Media Group. There's a lot of magazines out there that focus on luxury, but the Robb Report does a bang-up job of keeping it current, keeping it real, and really, really opening your eyes up to what's out there. Whether or not you can afford it, whether or not you like it, they really do a fantastic job. So good on you. I'm very proud of the work you do.
David Arnold, you keep it real.
Yeah,
we're both from London. But
you got your tagline now. You got your tagline. But we love inspiration. We found that we get a lot of reports, like when the Robb Report comes out, and yes, I know your Napa Valley event very well, and that's a phenomenal event. Anyone out there that's on the fence that gets an invite, get off the fence and get there. If not, give me your invite. But we get a lot of people to contact us. They've read something in the Robb Report. They've read something in Worth. They've seen something on TV. We had a client that saw the Mission Impossible that wanted to jump off that skyscraper. So we get people to watch things, read things, and then they reach out to us, and we love it. So Robb Report, keep doing your stuff.
Thank you, Steve.
I love it.
I would have to agree with that.
I love it. This is one big love fest of high-end individuals. And keeping up the love fest, one of our favorite, if not our favorite women here at Huffington Post. We'd be remiss if I didn't bring this picture up. What's going on here?
Well, she stalked me for many years. What can I tell you? We had an event that there's a great gentleman by the name of Joe Polish who owns a 25K mastermind group that runs an event every year in New York City, and he gets all of these geniuses together to help each other out. And this year, Steve Forbes was there, Peter Diamandis was there from the X Prize, Ariana was there, and it's just a great event where it's a think tank of really successful people and approachable people that you can just tap on the shoulder and go, look, how do you do this? Or I've got this problem. And we're the official concierge to the 25K group. So we go along and we look after all these wonderful people.
If you had to pick a personalized, extra special experience for Ariana, what do you think she might be interested in?
Wow. Well, anyone that knows Ariana knows very well that family is key. So it would be a family event, and it would be something that was probably historical. I would say I would probably try to do a wonderful cooking experience in Tuscany.
I love it. Jamie, I think that Ariana might like one of your kitchens, so I'm sure if she's watching,
there you go. I'll get the kitchen out there and map it all into one.
And we have your wonderful website here, jamiedury.com, and Robb Report and Destination Luxury. All of the information about all of you is in our resource well. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise, your knowledge with those of us who might not get a peek inside. Jamie, I know we can catch you on HGTV all the time, and you have a new book coming out that I can't wait to have you back on to discuss. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight, though.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And thank you for watching. You guys all make me feel very, very rich. Keep on watching and commenting and checking out what's coming up next in the green room, because the conversation always continues here at HuffPost Live.